Families in the first row. Yeah, and if you'd like to pay your respects to the family, just use the side aisle. They're seated in the first row, and you can have a seat on either side. Use the side aisle, please. Families in the first row. Use the side aisle, please. Use the side aisle, please. Families in the first row. Yourself? You know the routine. I don't have to tell you anything. Yeah. You got it. Use the sign out. Please, families in the first. Use the sign out. Please, families in the first. Use the sign out. Please, families in the first.
just find a seat, please. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our service today, I want to ask that we turn off or silence all cell phones or electronic devices. Thank you very much. From Psalm 121, I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way, your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your guardian. Adonai is your protection at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard you from all harm. God will guard your life. Adonai will guard your going and your coming, now and forever. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination. And life is a journey from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. has stilled the heart of Judy Block. We gather here this afternoon to share our sorrow, to thank God for the gift of her life, and to entrust Judy to the gentle stillness of eternity. In truth, the many precious sparks of an individual's life are contained within the flowing memories of all those who were touched by her. You each hold this precious woman in your hearts and minds in your own unique ways. Today our hearts go out especially to Judy's family. We think of her children, Jeff and his wife Janice, Amy and her husband Derek. We think of Bonnie, Bobby, and Judy's grandchildren, Leah, Allison, Morgan, and Sean, Madison and Josh, Daniel and his partner Emily. And Judy enjoyed the blessings of great-grandchildren, Liam, Andrew, Hudson, and Kensington. We also offer our support to Judy's dear cousins, Marty and Wendy. Judy is predeceased by her beloved son, Don, and the absolute love of her life, her husband, Bill. Born in Roxbury, Massachusetts, Judy and Bill later moved to Connecticut, followed by Philadelphia and ultimately Cherry Hill. Throughout her 94 years of life, and I'm told she never wanted anybody to know how old she was, and she was serious about that. But now you know. Judy never lost that endearing Boston accent. She was a stay-at-home mom, raising their 5 children until they all reached college age before working outside the home. Judy's devotion to family was unmatched. When she made her way to working outside of her home, Judy pursued a passion for working with special needs children. She found her second home at Kingsway Learning Center, where she stayed until she was 80. She would have done that forever if she could. Judy was a proud recipient of the Regional Award for Paraprofessional of the Year. I'm told by her family that Judy was extremely smart, sharp, she could be feisty, and always spoke her mind. Possessed of a great love for the arts, Judy passed that on to her children. She loved her Jewish tradition, lit candles every Shabbat, and she and Bill would often speak to each other in Yiddish around the house. Those days are going soon, I'm afraid to say. Jeff, Amy, Bonnie, and Bobby shared beautiful stories and memories with me the other day. I had never met Judy, and so I enjoyed learning about her from them. It's an honor to hear some reflections from several of her family members now. I'll begin with this loving tribute from Bonnie. These are her words. She titled it, "The Incredibleness of Mom." This is a string of remembrances, not a full, flowing story. Much like Mom enjoyed her life in real time, I captured my memories of her in fits and starts, and I shared them with her before she passed. And now we will share them with so many of you who were part of her life. Mom had a wonderful childhood growing up in Roxbury, Massachusetts, on her beloved Cleve Street. The street was filled with family and friends, including her bubby. In her teen years, she had many friends, and she told us about lots of boyfriends, too, with nicknames like Pinky and Schmaltzy, which always made my siblings and I laugh. Mom skipped a grade and started attending Boston University at age 16. While in college, her friend fixed her up on a blind date with a friend in town from Connecticut, Bill Block. Mom was studying for an exam when Bill called, so she said she was too busy, but she had another friend he could go out with instead. Bill said, "I'm sorry, but I was told you are for me, so I only want to go out with you." So Mom found some time to make the date. 6 dates later, they were engaged. Years later, Mom left her home in Connecticut, where Dad was a chiropractor, and moved to Overbrook Park in Philadelphia because Dad decided to go to med school at PCOM in his mid-30s. Mom had a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, and was 7 months pregnant with twins. She left her family and friends in New England to go to a place where she knew no one. Amy and I were born during Dad's first month of med school. Mom took care of 2 toddlers and 2 newborns while making new friends in Philly. It takes a village, and Mom created her village. She made lifelong friends there who helped her with childcare, food, clothing, and sanity. She moved to Cherry Hill 4 years later when Dad got his residency at Cherry Hill Hospital, then built up his practice in the office connected to our house on Chapel Avenue. A new place, and again Mom found her way in a new community, making more lifelong friends and taking care of her family and husband every step of the way. When I became old enough to recognize the endless work that Mom did to keep our family happy, I remember moments when she would sometimes go out into the car and sit there in the driveway for a short time just to get some alone time. For 2 weeks every year, Mom would get to not be a full-time homemaker. That's when we would all go to her favorite place in the world, Cape Cod. We had so much fun together at the Cape, laughing, playing games, hanging out with tons of relatives, making her nightly pilgrimage to 4 Seas ice cream to have her hot fudge. Now, getting to the Cape was a different story. Dad would tie our suitcases to the roof of our station wagon, while Mom would prepare to keep her family happy during the 9-hour drive. Lots of kids, lots of bathroom stops. Mom would wrap in tin foil each individual piece of her homemade fried chicken, plus cucumber slices for our favorite lunch. Of course, we wanted to eat right away, but we had to wait till we got to the Tappan Zee Bridge. Remember, there were no screens, no video games. Mom had to keep us all occupied with projects like making sock puppets or playing car games. My father and brothers in the front seat before seatbelts, Amy, me, and Mom in the back seat, and Bobby, being the baby, in the way, way back. Before Bobby was born, my mother somehow convinced my father to take our Saint Bernard princess with us. So she got the way, way back and drooled over our shoulders as we drove along. Mom loved animals. Over the years, she had Princess, Tanya the Siberian Husky, and her 7 puppies, and a cat, Taffy. Princess was hit by a car at 2 years old and broke her pelvis. When she came back after weeks at the vet with a huge pin sticking out of her hip, she got out of the car, laid down on the front lawn, and would not get back up to come into the house. So Mom slept outside with her all night. Mom went through the sudden loss of her beloved brother, Bobby, in a private plane crash. Mom was 35 years old. She tried so hard not to show her tears to her children, because that's what parents did in those days. But I remember seeing her sitting in a dark room, wiping her tears. That's when our family did not have our own Bobby yet. Mom was determined to carry on her brother's name and asked her close cousin Phyllis to please name her next baby after him. She waited 2 years, and when Phyllis finally said she was not having another child, Mom decided to do it herself and have a 5th baby. So determined was she to honor her brother and carry on the family name. So Bobby was born, and Mom had her 5 children. Mom was always involved with every part of our lives. School, friends, activities. She was a Cub Scout den mother, a Girl Scout leader, and volunteered for school activities. Our friends always enjoyed coming to our house. They felt comfortable there. And as we got older, my mother took an interest in their lives as well. Mom loved to swim. She was happiest in the water. She would do laps in our pool and do laps in the ocean at the Cape. She could float easily on her back, and we'd watch her bobbing in the waves, perfectly relaxed and happy. She was always ready to play with my kids and their friends when they came to the pool. They would beg her to come in with them. After Mom raised her own family, she went to work at Kingsway and found a second family. Kingsway is a school for special needs children. She spent 35 years of pure joy with the children and staff. She fortunately shared that joy with me and Amy by encouraging us to come work there with her. Mom loved theater and movies. She would continue to go to the movies by herself after Dad died and some of her friends had passed. She would sometimes go to a double feature on Sundays at the Ritz Movie Theater, sneaking into a second movie after the first was over. Although she was not a book lover, she read the New Yorker magazine from cover to cover, often sharing specific articles with friends and family. Although Mom claimed that she hated to cook and passed that dislike along to me, she still had a full meal ready for our Monday through Friday family dinners. She made the best rotisserie roast, fantastic blintzes, and beef stroganoff. We loved the meals, yet she still felt she could not cook. Despite this, she still always took care of her family's needs. Mom was a wonderful listener with both family and friends. She wanted to know every detail of a trip or event that someone had been to, down to what they had to eat. And if you had photos of the trip, Mom would look at every one of them, asking questions and commenting. She was truly interested and was happy that someone was sharing with her. Mom was my best friend, especially through my divorce. She would go to the movies with me, out to coffee with me. She was always there to talk to and cry to. Mom's family was the center of her world. From the moment her first baby made his first cry to the last breaths that she took, it was family. How lucky she was to have 3 of her 5 grandchildren live close by to be a part of everyday life. She had romance and passion and fun with our dad for 48 years until he passed. She had a job that she loved until she was 80 years old. She had most of her family and grandchildren nearby. Judy Block had a very full and joyous life. Thank you, Bonnie. A few words from Amy about this little tune I'm going to sing that I just learned yesterday. Amy says, I asked Mom if there was a special song she'd like the music therapist to sing. She did not respond. I asked yesterday if maybe she and Dad had a special song, and after a bit of silence, she began to sing a few lines from the song, I Love You Truly. The music therapist found a version on YouTube by Bing Crosby and played it for her, and then promised she would learn it for the next session. My Mom's got a number of people learning this song. I'd never heard of it before. I'm surprised that I hadn't, but I did spend a little time learning it yesterday. Please sing along with me if you know it. I love you truly, truly, dear. Life with its sorrow Ah, yes, 'tis something by your side to stand. Gone is the sorrow, gone doubt and fear, for you love me truly, truly. I'd like to call Bobby up to share a few words. This is a different view. When we got a pool in our backyard, my mother decided to get a full-size, bright white porcelain toilet and sink and put it next to the pool and fill it with flowers. That toilet flower pot is my mom in a nutshell. Playful, unconventional, creative, funny, casual, unique, full of beauty, and a little out there. Playful. My mom loved to play. She loved to play with children. She loved to play with animals. She loved to create play. I remember 4th of July wacky relay races in our backyard that she would create. She decorated for every holiday, Hanukkah, Halloween, July 4th, and made it all super fun for us. And even though she loved being Jewish, she loved holiday fun so much that every Easter, yes, we had an egg hunt. And she loved to play games so much. We loved to watch Mom laugh really hard when playing group solitaire or Pictionary, almost as much as we loved watching her curse like a sailor when Marty beat her. Mom loved word games like Scrabble and Boggle. We were so, I should wear my glasses for this. We were so lucky that even though she had dementia, she still retained two things: her ability to recognize us all the way till the end, and the ability for her to challenge her mind with word games. Even with dementia, she would beat Amy at Scrabble every time. I don't know if that says how smart my mom is, or... She loved the word jumble, and she beat my ass at it every time. I would have my pen in hand, scribbling the letters and trying to figure out how to rearrange them, and she would just stare at the words, rearrange them in her head, and she'd get it every time. She couldn't remember what I just said 2 seconds ago, but she could unscramble multi-syllabic words in her head. It was amazing, and I would praise her, and she would scoff and say, "Oh, please, no big deal." Mom was playful at parades. She loved a parade. It didn't matter how lame or local it was. In Cherry Hill, the Cherry Blossom Parade would come right down our street on Chapel Avenue, and Mom couldn't wait. She would stand on the curb and cheer and clap and do her Judy dance and wave at every single thing that passed by. She was loud, and she didn't give a shit if no one else was clapping and moving. She wanted to share her playfulness and show her deep support for every firefighter and baton twirler. That's another thing about Mom. She found as much joy in a tiny hometown parade as in an extravagant Broadway play. She loves supporting everyone's efforts, no matter what the size. Okay, I'll be with you.
I like to think of myself as playful, though as I get older, I think I'm less so. But my mother kept playing and playing her entire life, and that inspires me. It reminds me of a quote I have on my fridge. We don't quit playing because we get old. We get old because we quit playing. In that sense, Mom never got old. Like the toilet planter, my mom was not stuffy or formal. When you came to our house, and many, many friends came to our house, she would say, "Are you hungry?" And then she'd say, "Get whatever you want from the fridge, I'm not serving you." She liked to get dressed up, but most of the time it was comfort over style. Style for her was wearing black jeans. I'm going to blow my nose. Yes, now it's blowing through. Mom did not have money growing up, and she was never into material things. She said if she could get it at Filene's basement, that was good enough for her. Mom loved chocolate. So people would often buy her Godiva or the fanciest of chocolate cakes and candies. And she honestly never liked it. She said, "Give me a Hershey bar any day." She told us that her father taught her to love beauty and nature over material things. He always took Mom and Uncle Bobby to the mountains or made them wake up early at Cape Cod to catch a sunrise. When Mom was homebound in her apartment these past many years, she used to sit out on her 16th floor balcony for hours, looking at the beautiful forest of trees across the highway and catching a sunset. She would always say how much she loved being out there and was so peaceful and satisfied as long as she had some sunshine on her face. That's Mom. She didn't want to see the world. She didn't want fancy toys or possessions. No matter how hard you push her to get to want something, she would only say, "I just want my family around me, in good health, sitting on Craigville Beach in Cape Cod with a bowl of Four Seas hot fudge." Like the toilet planter, she was creative. Our parents were both creative and huge supporters of the arts. I feel like they spread their talents around to their 5 children. Some of us are visual artists, some performing artists. Mom and Dad were proud of anything and everything her kids made or did. Mom told me that she was the drama queen in grade school and high school. I think drama queen has a different connotation now. She took elocution and dramatics classes from Beatrice Schlillman at the Brookledge School of Dramatic Arts in Roxbury, Mass. She would memorize monologues and perform them for the Hadassah. While Mom was in college, she was part of a USO show in which she danced the jitterbug. She was always jitterbugging. She and her dear cousin Phyllis would always teach the boys how to dance. Some of my own fondest memories are dancing the jitterbug with my mom. She was a strong lead. She would whip me around. When she was homebound with dementia and I would try to get her to exercise a bit, I would put on swing music. And until only a couple of years ago, she was still so strong with her spin-outs. I loved dancing with her. It was so much fun. Mom loved to sing, too. Her voice was okay. She could carry a tune, nothing great. But when she would sing silly songs at Thanksgiving or at the Seder, some family members were not delighted. But once again, Mom didn't give a shit. She wanted to have fun, so she did. Mom loved roller skating and ice skating. She skated on our frozen pool, on frozen lakes, at rinks, and on her own, and with a synchronized ice skating team. I didn't skate, but I loved watching skating with her on TV. I've been told that Mom skated while very pregnant with me, to my father's chagrin, and she did fall. And now we know why I'm like this. No, sorry. My parents were big theater goers. After my dad died, Mom would continue to go to the theater with their best friends, Ellie and Bob Truhaft. And then Mom and I started a new tradition. We subscribed to dance celebration at the Annenberg Center. Those dance company dates were very important to me. Sharing art together, talking about theater and dance, spending time in the car schmoozing. I think that's when we really became good friends. Like the toilet planter, Mom was unconventional, and she mostly didn't care what other people thought. During the AIDS epidemic, my sister recalls that a fear-based discussion occurred at the school where she worked, and Mom stood up and talked about her beautiful nephew Marvin, who had AIDS, and she fought to reduce the stigma around it. She liked to stand up for the underrepresented. She had liberal views and always talked of inclusivity. My sister recalls that when my brother Jeff was in high school in the late 60s, the students had a walkout for some social justice reason. We lived across the street from the high school, and Mom got right out there on Chapel Avenue cheering the students on with their protest. I recall many times when I would tell her about the things happening in Philly, and she would ask who was there. She wanted to know that all ages and races and abilities were represented. And even though she had no short or long-term memory, when I showed her the recent newspaper headlines after Roe v. Wade was reversed, she was shocked and upset and had the clarity of memory to ask, "Wasn't that resolved years ago?" Her kindness, tolerance, and inclusiveness, her rooting for the underdog, was an integral part of her being. She had a strong sense of fairness and never wanted anyone to pay for her, and she felt it was somehow unearned. She eschewed gifts from her kids because it felt to her that she should buy for us and not the other way around. Just a few more stories. The tragedy of her brother Bobby, combined with a very strong, typical Jewish mother gene, made it extraordinarily important to Mom to know that her children were safe every time they traveled. When I started traveling a lot for work, she not only needed all of my travel information and needed me to call when I got to my destination, but it was a must that she say to me before each trip, "Geh gesund and komm gesund." Go in health and come home in health. While at times that overprotection was annoying, I grew to find the ritual very comforting. When she started losing her memory, I actually found myself prompting her for it. "What do you say before I leave on a trip, Mom?" Just so I could hear it. No one can think of my mom without hearing her powerful Boston accent, which she never lost, even though she didn't live in Boston for 70 years. I'm going to try to capture her voice in one sentence. I walk into her place, and she says, "Hi, Bob. I gotta go to the bathroom. If you want a drink, there's an open bottle on the table. Then we'll get in the car, pick up my friend Linda, and go visit Maddie." As Bonnie wrote, Mom was driven by caretaking and mothering. In the years of her dementia, whenever I would get ready to leave her place and go home, she would pause and say, "Now what would a mother say? Drive carefully, drive slowly, wear a sweater." She knew she was being funny, but there was also something bittersweet about it, as if she felt she needed to say motherly things in order to be relevant to me. I hope she knew, and I told her, that she didn't need to do that for me anymore. Just simply being there to listen to me was all the mothering I needed. The older I got, the closer I felt with my mom, even with the dementia. I have to say that I felt my mom's love more in our adult relationship than what I remember from my childhood relationship. We would say, "I love you" a lot. Being single, that consistent, unconditional expression of love meant a lot to me. I'm very grateful for that, and will deeply miss the heartfelt "I love yous" from her. Mom, playful, unconventional, creative, funny, casual, unique, full of beauty, and a little bit out there.
Shadows falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you get up in the morning and you see that crazy sun, keep me in your heart for a while. There's a train leaving nightly call when all is said and done. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sometimes when you're doing simple things around the house, maybe you'll think of me and smile. You know I'm tied to you like the buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for a while. Hold me in your thoughts, take me to your dreams, touch me as I fall into view. When the winter comes, keep the fires lit, and I will be right next to you. Engine drivers headed north to Pleasant Stream, keep me in your heart for a while. These wheels keep turning, but they're running out of steam. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-lo. Keep me in your heart for a while. Keep me in your heart for a while. Mourning is the price we pay for having the courage to love others. Even in grief, we know that the wonder of human life is too complex and too magnificent to be memorialized in endless pain. The gifts of spirit our loved one gave us cannot be measured or weighed, nor can they be lost or even tarnished by time. Even in our darkest hours, we know that some of their light and their warmth will always be with us, bringing comfort and courage, and in the fullness of time, healing and peace. We rise for the memorial chant. Il Ba'ala rachamim, yastirehu reha b'setek nachav le'olamim, v'yitzror b'yitzror achayim, et nishmata Adonai hu nachalata, v'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava, v'nomar Amen. Fully compassionate God on high, to our loved one who has entered eternity, grant her clear and certain rest with you in the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven. Source of mercy, forever enfold Judy in the embrace of your wings. Secure her soul in eternity. Adonai, she is yours. May she rest in peace. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. Interment will follow, where we will recite Kaddish. We'll follow this chapel service at Locustwood Cemetery in Cherry Hill.
Judith and Paul Bears to the center aisle. We all rise once more. We can stay where we are and dismiss everyone row by row. Thank you very much.
You can see me. It was real. I have to sing the whole song. Some things that